PodcastCoug Season 8, Episode 4.
You're listening to the PodcastCoug Radio Network with your host, James Laurie. The PodcastCoug is your weekly Coug on Demand show featuring all things Cougs and Washington State Cougar football. And now, here is your host, PodcastCoug.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the PodcastCoug. I am James Laurie, the PodcastCoug, and you are listening to the PodcastCoug, where we're all things Cougar football, 30 minutes of Coug talk, where we're talking about Northern Colorado, John Mateer, the Colorado Buffaloes, and rumors to the Big 12, and the Cougs hosting Oregon State and Pullman on Saturday. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Episode 4. And you know what? It was Cam Ward, 327 yards, 4 touchdowns. First half, the Cougs rolled past Northern Colorado 64-21, as we had Lincoln Victor caught 6 passes, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Kelly had 5 receptions and a score, and Nakia Watson had he had a rushing touchdown. And then, of course, Jake and Sermon, the quarterback for Northern Colorado, completed 16 of 24, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns for NCU, and the Cougs just scored 22 first quarter points and 21 in the second quarter, while it was 43-7 at halftime. Great game getting ready for our conference game. We're going to talk about Oregon State coming up in the second half of the PodcastCoug. But yeah, Cam's opening 8-yard scoring run, followed by a 2-point conversion. Love it. Love the 2-point conversion. Through a 37-yard scoring pass to Kyle Williams, to a 28-yard to Lincoln Victor. Had a great game. Tossed an 18-yard pass to Joseph Kelly, and Nakia ran one for a score. It was just a great day. And, of course, third quarter, the moment I've been waiting for 2 years, the second quarter. Here we go. LetJohnMateerRip.com. John Mateer, couldn't wait to see that. You know, the limited we've seen John in the last year. Couldn't wait for Saturday, second half. He threw a 15-yard TD to Josh Meredith, and he made it 50-7. And then Zion Denali caught a 62-yard touchdown pass, just a dime pass from Mateer. Just exceptional. Mateer is exceptional, all right? And we're just getting ready for John as a backup and getting ready for him to take the day and win the day for Crimson and Gray with John Mateer, right? So I can't wait for that day to happen. Dylan Payne came in, had some great plays, and scored from the one to give Washington State a 64-14 lead. And hey, how about congratulations to Coach Dickert, and third coach ever at Washington State in history to go 3-0 for the first 2 years. That is awesome. So here we go. Rumors. We're talking about Washington State and Oregon State, rumors to the Big 12. We're going to talk about that on the second half of the PodcastCoug. Cam Ward, like I said, hit his first 12 passes in the first half of play. And, he had a good day, right? 0 interceptions, 0 picks, right? 20 out of 26 passes, again, 327 yards, 4 touchdowns. Lincoln Victor had a great day. Everybody had a great day. You know, our receivers caught a lot of passes, and, like you said, we had that great 2-point conversion. Good stuff on film for Oregon State to look at. And, our passing game was great. We had 3 tight ends catch balls and 718 yards on offense. And, our defense stepped up, right? Just Ron Stone Jr. and Brennan Jackson. People all over are fearing these guys, especially in the Pac-12, and then Northern Colorado's first 5 possessions went like this, they went punt, 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 and punt. Those were their first 5 possessions, right? And by the time Northern Colorado got the ball next time, it was, 43-0. So really, we talked about Mateer. John had 7 out of 8 passes completed, total of 138 yards, 2 TDs, and that 72-yard bullet to Zion Denali, for a touchdown catch. Just amazing. Just been waiting for Mateer for 2 years, and we got him. It's just was amazing. So running game looked fine. Still, we're not as explosive on some openings. It's a tough time finding some opening holes. But Dylan Payne had an 81-yard game. and good touchdown, 7 carries. Ron Stone Jr., we talked about it, 2 tackles for a loss and a sack. Brennan Jackson had a sack. We had 23 defensive players that had some sort of stats. And then our offense featured 8 different ball carriers, 12 different pass catchers. We got great depth, and these guys just been working their butts off since January, right? So apparently 20 Cougs made their collegiate debuts on national television, right, with their family watching either at the game or on TV. So I'm sure a lot of guys are just proud of that, and and there was that Colorado State game, right, at Colorado at Boulder. A team that we hung 50 points against at Fort Collins 2 weeks ago. And yeah, that wasn't the same Colorado State that we played 2 weeks ago. No way. But hats off to Jay Norvell for pulling off almost an upset with 2 overtimes. Obviously Colorado came through, but all the hype on the game with game day was there. Just The Rock was there, Deion Sanders. I mean, everything about the game there was so much hype, and it was all about the Pac-12. The Pac-12 After Dark, I think it was the most watched game in the history of Pac-12 After Dark on ESPN. And Deion was featured on 60 Minutes. That's the second year in a row. They actually did a segment on Jackson State a year ago. And 60 Minutes doesn't really do a lot of football. They did Mike Leach when he was at Tech. Right before he came to Washington State, they did a feature on Mike Leach and the air raid and beating top 10 opponents with the air raid. And then they did Jackson State last year with Deion Sanders, and on a rare occasion, they did they featured Deion again with Colorado. So just unheard of for 60 Minutes. Coach Prime, everything going now. You either love him or hate him, but hey, remember, speaking about Colorado, of course they're at Oregon. The game this Saturday starts off at 12:30 on ABC. And then, of course, our game at 4 o'clock on Big Fox. And then, of course, Saturday night, Cal is at UW. There's no contest there with Cal and UW, but that game. So it's going to be a big Saturday with those 3 games going on. Again, Oregon, our game, and then the UW game with Cal. I do think that Oregon's going to beat Colorado in Eugene at Autzen Stadium. I do see the Buffs losing. I think the Buffaloes are going to lose 4 games this year. And I think it's going to be Oregon, USC, Washington State, and Utah. Those are the 4 teams they're going to lose to. I do think they're going to beat UCLA. But you know what? Nobody knows the future, so anything can happen in college football. And I do think Oregon is obviously a better team. But gosh, with what Deion's done with those roster, especially over the summer, it's amazing. So, good teams are able to find how to win, and they, when they don't play their best, and they, whether it's injury or they basically find a way to win a football game. And that's what Colorado did. That's what they showed. Persevered. You could just look at the face of Deion Sanders on the fourth quarter. It was unbelievable, and their good teams find a way to win. Colorado State almost had it. They rammed it, right? So, but close games against TCU and now Colorado State, a team we blew out 2 weeks ago. And they're and Colorado, they're not a great team. They're a good team. But they won the football game, and there's people that hate Prime Time and others who are jealous of him, but you know what? I'll tell you, he's doing things that are amazing, and it's just not your daddy's coach. You either love him or you love him or you don't, and he's out recruiting Nick Saban right now. I think he's out recruiting everybody in the United States. So you can say what you want about Coach Prime, but and from the YouTube channel he's on from the very beginning, the moment he was hired, it's just been remarkable. Nobody's seen this before. He's just doing stuff what everybody else doesn't do. So I don't care if regarding Washington State and Oregon State. as far as as far as the Big 12 is concerned. If we go undefeated, right, that doesn't really exactly mean that we're in the Big 12. I mean, look at Arizona and Arizona State. They got in the Big 12. They've been totally irrelevant in football, especially Arizona State and Arizona. I mean, they've just irrelevant for many, many years, and they're in the Big 12. But because of brand prowess and money and TV ratings. And guess what? Washington State and Oregon State has some of that. We've got the brand. We don't have the big brand, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, USC, but we've got the brand. We've got the prowess. We've got the money. Meaning we make money for the networks and the TV ratings, which makes the revenue, right? I'm not alluding to money like SMU or Phil Knight type of money, but guess what? Washington State, Oregon State, we have some of this. And we're not your dad's or your grandpa's Washington State or Oregon State anymore, especially Oregon State, And so, we're not that blue blood program, but we do offer revenue for ESPN, Fox, or Apple or Amazon streaming. And yeah, we have a chance to make it into the Big 10. There is rumors right now that there is a 99% chance that Washington State and Oregon State will be in the Big 12 within 2 years by 2026. We will be in the Big 12. Okay, you know what our options are. Our options are to realign the Pac-12 and poach, retain the name Pac-12 and make it a Pac-8 and poach from a G5 Mountain West, or join G5 Mountain West, or go to Big 12. And I honestly think the Big 12 I think the networks have a lot of power and influence, the TV, and I do believe we will be in the Big 12, no doubt. And there's going to be a lot of doubters out there, and rumors are rumors, and there's rumors of wars, and there's wars. But you know what? It only makes sense. We are absolutely not a G5 school. Okay, we are not, and either is Oregon State. And they've got that beautiful stadium. So we bring a lot of edge to the league, and we have a plausible. Our success is certainly, we've got a lot of success over the years. 2 Rose Bowls in 25 years. The networks know this. We make money for them. Look at the ratings on the Wisconsin game. It's a no-brainer, and ESPN and Fox, they know this. And like I said, it's revenue for them. And granted, it might not be a Michigan or Ohio State revenue, but it's a revenue, and it's just like the Seattle. I mean, we've got the Seattle and Portland. It is the Seattle and Portland TV market, and you can't lose money by losing teams like us. I think our numbers rating-wise compared to the Seattle Mariners or the Kraken, there's no doubt. So you're going to take Washington State and Oregon State, and you're going to give that revenue to ESPN or Fox or whoever, and they're going to make money off us. And sure, sending us to the Big 12 makes sense. I mean, it's no doubt we are and will be in the Big 12. I mean, it is what it is, and that's what it is, okay? And that's it. There's absolutely no way, and I'm not in denial, that we're going to the G5. There's no way. So sure, it's the West Coast, right? And we've been playing Arizona State for years, Utah, Colorado, even BYU. We've been playing them for years, and we're just a little bit farther away from those guys, but it is the West Coast. And so why not, ESPN and Fox and easy peasy lemon squeezy. And speaking about easy peasy black and orange squeezy, we're talking about the Beavs, Oregon State, next, right here on the second half of the Podcast Coug.
Hey, Coug fans. You're podcasting with James Laurie and the PodcastCoug Radio Network. The Podcast Coug is your weekly Coug on Demand show, featuring all things Cougar football in Washington State. To help you get through the week, hit the subscribe button or check us out on iTunes, the App Store, iOS, Google Play, Stitcher, or at PodcastCoug.com.
The real estate agent you work with matters, and a great agent helps you own the home of your dreams. And your dreams come true with James Laurie at Coldwell Banker Bain, representing clients like you 24/7, from condos to colonials and everything in between. If you're selling, buying, need a price analysis, or just a contractor referral? Ask James, winner of the 2015 through 2019 International Coldwell Banker Diamond Award, with dozens and dozens of 5-star Zillow reviews and Seattle Magazine's 5-star award winner for 2018 through 2020. James Laurie, Coldwell Banker Bain, at 425-466-3672 or jameslaurie.net. Rock solid results.
You're listening to the Podcast Coug.
Two running backs in with the quarterback. Signals called. All man in motion going through to the right side. Handoff. Wings out to the right side. Touchdown, Washington State.
You are listening to the Podcast Coug.
Welcome back to the second half of the Podcast Coug. I am James Laurie, the Podcast Coug, where we're all things Cougar football, all things Cougs. And, of course, it's Oregon State, Washington State. Martin Stadium on Saturday, 4 o'clock. Big Fox, nationally televised all over the country. 69 degrees, records, both teams 3-0, right? History, Cougs lead the series 56-48, 3 ties. Beavs last year won in Corvallis 24-10, and Washington State 21 rating, 21th in the nation, right? AP, Oregon State is number 14, so number 21, 14, and the line, Oregon State favored by 2.5, and it should be a sellout, right? Right, tonight, Tuesday, as we've got 1,000 tickets left, and as of Tuesday night, I think by Saturday, it will be a sellout, just like Wisconsin. Dickert has this team and Swagger all dialed in, ready to go. Swagger, Cougs versus everybody. It's first time in 107 years. In 107 years that both teams are ranked in the top 25. That's Oregon State. Typically, we're ranked, and Oregon State's not. We have had the better, over the years, although you got hats off to Jonathan Smith, and this game is going to make a huge statement for the Cougs if we win, not if we will, right? I mean, literally, I have a lot of respect, by the way, for Jonathan Smith and what he's done to the program. I think they have a top 5. They have one of the top 5 offensive lines in the country, no doubt. And they've got 2 running backs that are pretty good too, and perhaps better than Wisconsin's, right? And they're physical, and their defense flies around and makes plays, and they've got DJ Uyangle and 5-star, DJU is a 5-star, a one-time portal transfer from Clemson. Clemson wasn't a good fit. It just, things didn't work out. And DJU has, he hasn't really lived up to the hype. And that's okay. Good for Oregon State, right? Good fit, Oregon State. Like I said, he was a 5-star. Obviously, that didn't happen, but you know what? There's a lid for every pot, and if Clemson didn't work out, guess what? Oregon State does, and he's extremely confident, makes all the throws, puts stuff together. He puts his whole package together, and like I said, in the last 15 games, they've had the number 1 defense in the conference. Oregon State. They've been a preseason favorite from the very beginning. They were ranked in the top 25 early on. So the challenge is here right now. It's Saturday. The challenge is real. And I think the Cougs know they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready to play a tough game. Pac-12 opener. It's our sister team. It's our sister school. It's our new rival, right? It's our new rival. Right? And a lot is at stake on Saturday, a chance to show the nation who Cougar football is all about, right? Big Fox Prime, East Coast, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. But the game is going to be physically dominating on the line of scrimmage. That performance, you need to go out and play your best, obviously, be focused. So far, Jake Dickert has had focus on every team. Every team has been ready to play, unlike our previous coach. Okay, and all right. And I'm talking about Leach. Leach is a great guy, but we all know that Mike is an incredible coach. It was an incredible coach, but there were games, some of the big games he did with Oregon 2018. The team was ready when game day, but on a lot of Apple Cups and other games, bowl games and Apple Cups, our team just didn't show up. And Jake Dickert gets the team showed up, and they will on Saturday, I believe. We certainly haven't. We've seen it all the time. And so, who has Oregon State played? Right, they beat San Jose State, who are 1-3 out of the Mountain West Conference, right? They beat UC Davis, who are 2-1. They're Big Sky, FCS, and they beat San Diego State, which are 2-2 out of the Mountain West Conference. They really haven't played we're the strong. This is going to be their biggest test so far of the year, right? No doubt. I mean, come on, right? So you can't hang your hat on San Jose State, UC Davis, or San Diego State at all. So they haven't played anybody, okay? And but you know what? They're physical off the ball, running off the ball. They're great. They've got a great play action pass game. I mean, last year, right? Like I said, they beat us 24-10, right? And they haven't won, by the way, in Pullman in over a decade. Since 2013, Oregon State has not won. Now, we have dominated that series, okay? Always, right? Love Corvallis, by the way. Great college town. But we haven't lost in Pullman to the Beavs in 10 years. And we need to just keep them behind the chains. And, don't turn the ball over. Cam Ward has not thrown a pick or a pick six or an interception at all this year, at all. And he's one of the top 6 in the country with his stats for not throwing any sort of picks or interception. So I don't think Cam Ward, like I said, he's thrown an interception or even a fumble this year. So you can't say that for DJU, right? And their screen game on the perimeter is stellar. We're talking about Oregon State, and they're going to beat you many different ways. Their defense has to, our defense has to step up and be ready to play all 4 quarters, because they're going to beat you in multiple different ways. We have Ron Stone Jr. and Brendan Jackson. They're going to be ready. They're going to be focused, sound, and we've got to win it in the trenches, right? So we've got this one. We've got the better offense, right? The better quarterback, no doubt. We're at home, big marquee matchup. They're ranked higher. They're favored to win. I see this as a Coug win. Okay, this is going to be a Washington State win. Now, Oregon State on Saturday is firing everybody up. Everybody's fired up for this game. What's interesting, it's the biggest game of the day. From a national perspective, it's not Oregon State and Washington State, okay? It's Colorado and Oregon, right? And of course, like I said, UW is going to blow out Cal, but the Cougs and the Beavs have a fantastic conference opener, and being both 3-0, being top 25, and we're going to show that we belong in the upper echelon of the conference contenders here, the Pac-12 for 2023, and we're going to make a statement on Saturday. Not just by winning the football game. I'm going with the Cougs on this one, like I said. But we have the offense and a good defense. We've got depth. We've got the defense. Oregon State, at a 2.5-point favorite. People are picking the Bees all over the place. But but it's going to be, it might be close. Who knows if it's going to be high scoring, low scoring? Who knows? But the way Cam Ward has been playing, how quick the release is, potent, fast. They've got to be ready, right? So game day isn't showing up, right? Where's game day on Saturday? They're going to be at South Bend, in Ohio State at Notre Dame. Now, all the ramifications that go well beyond a football game that's going to be set for the tone for conference play that give either the Cougs or the Beavs a bona fide top 15 ranking. That's what's on the line here, top 15 on the line. And yes, we have a bye after Oregon State. Am I looking past Oregon State? Unfortunately, I am, but it's on to Pasadena for UCLA, and perhaps that's one of the last times we're ever going to be playing in the Rose Bowl. I hate to say it. I mean, maybe we'll get there again, but a couple of more times. Maybe we'll play UCLA in the future. I have a feeling that's going to happen, be an out-of-conference game. But here we're going to be in the Rose Bowl in 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks, but in 2 weeks from Saturday. And I'd like to be at that game, right? I'd love to be in I'd love to be in Pasadena for that last. And I think we're going to beat UCLA. Off the field, it's much more because what these two programs represent in the college football world. Great sport run by some, it's a great sport, but the Pac-12 has been running by average sports management or below average sports management people on a whole. And obviously somebody's decided that we're not worthy of a Pac-5 conference. Okay. And that's, college football has decided that. And I really do believe they are making some decisions or discussions right now about the Big 12 for Oregon State and Washington State. You take a look at what Stanford is. Stanford lost to Sacramento State. Cal was down 17-0 to Idaho. And those are both FCS programs, by the way. Good ones, by the way. Good ones. But and shout out to Jason Eck of Idaho, head coach. Jason Eck, he's got that program rolling in the right direction. I'm excited for Idaho. I'm excited. That is what Eck is doing over in the Vandals is amazing. And they were up again 17-0 with Cal. And they end up losing that game. But Stanford lost to an FCS opponent, Sacramento State. So, and again, Jason, I think he's going to get Big Sky of the Year award. I hope he does. But our both schools, Oregon State, we're a Power 5 team, but you know what? By 2024, it's going to be all. Who are we going to be playing at? What's our schedule going to be like next year? Who knows? That's the thing that's concerning me, is recruiting and our roster and who are we playing. But we've got a huge thriller on Saturday. This is a huge thriller. Martin Stadium's going to be packed. It's going to be loud, ruckus. It's going to be an amazing environment. Hopefully it's going to match what Wisconsin did with our Wisconsin game. It was just amazing. It was, sold out. The students showed up just yelling loud. Question is, are they going to boo the Beavers? They booed Wisconsin players. Are they going to boo the Beavers, who we have really had a really good relationship with over the years? But everybody knows it's hard to win in Pullman. And we have an opportunity, Washington State and Oregon State, we have an opportunity to show the rest of the world of who we are in a Power 5 conference, that we not only belong, but we're going. We're going. Rumors, like I said, rumors are that ESPN that something's going to happen with the Big 12. They're going to throw us a lifeline by 2026. I'm not necessarily, we don't know, nobody knows if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, but I think by 2026, there's going to be a 99% chance we are in the Big 12, and not on a G5. We're not a G5 school, right? And I'm not in denial, right? So, hey, how about our Lady Cougs in volleyball? They just beat, number 5, the 5th team in the country down in Austin, the Texas Longhorns. Good going, Lady Cougs. Now, Washington State Lady Cougs volleyball ranked number 7th in the nation. Kyle Smith is doing a great job in basketball. Soccer is doing great. We've got amazing, substantial TV ratings in football. Like I said, look at our Wisconsin numbers, just great numbers with the Seattle market. And like I said, it's bigger than any Mariner game or Kraken game that's going on for Nielsen in Seattle. And we have a chance on Saturday to show where we belong, remain here, right? Remain on the line. And it's just a big statement we're going to make, a statement with a lot of respect coming up on Saturday with Oregon State, and certainly belong in that top 25 and 21-14 respectively. All the pomp and the loudness and the excitement this Saturday at Martin is going to be amazing. As many eyeballs as we can on Pullman to deserve where we're at, making a huge statement in our football program. By the way, coming into the year, we were coming into the year, we were considered many by the Pac-12 conference as a contender, and which is the best in the league, including Oregon State. Oregon State, and they haven't been relevant for years, but they were picked to be a Pac-12 contender, and they beat us last year, and that was a great year for the Beavs. But depending on the outcome on Saturday, if we win this, go all the way, we're squarely in a conversation for a conference contender. That's undeniable, right? For a Power 5 win in a top 25 team, beating number 19 at the time, Wisconsin, and of course Oregon State. And so then we're 4-0. And yeah, I'm throwing the cart before the horse, but we're going to show up. We're going to be ready to play and sell out. Sell this out, right? Oregon State, Washington State, huge Seattle TV market. It's going to be the biggest media West Coast. Of course, the Eugene game is huge, but look at what all the recruiting that Texas A&M has done, and Auburn and Clemson. They're not ranked, but they recruited. They outperformed us in recruiting, and they have a bigger brand, right? A&M, Auburn, Clemson, right? Bigger brand. Better recruiting. They're not even found anywhere in the top 25, right? So it just shows you that either they've got a lot of 4-stars playing soft, or something's going on, right? And we have the all cylinders working, and that starts with Jake Dickert as well, and the guys on our team. Just amazing talent and depth that we have. And we may not have the biggest budget and the biggest stadium, but we do have our college town where there are no tents under bridges or on sidewalks. Nowhere. There's actually there. I guess the cartel hasn't found Pullman yet. They found Corvallis and Eugene, and every Berkeley is closed. All of Los Angeles downtown is closed, and Venice Beach and Santa Monica closed, San Francisco closed, Oakland closed. Eugene's they've got some fentanyl issues, and so does Corvallis. Nothing in downtown Pullman. It's great for recruiting, great for the parents. Really, it truly is. It's great if you want your son or daughter to go play at Washington State. It's the incredible safe atmosphere, right? So this is going to be a great game. West Coast, it's going to be amazing on Saturday. Another epic game. It's a showdown. It's a historic game. It's the Cougs and Oregon State, and it's on Saturday. Hey, everybody, that is it for episode 4 of the 8th season of the Podcast Coug. Thank you so much for listening. Oregon State, Washington State, have a great weekend. Everybody, God bless, and go Coug.
You've been listening to the Podcast Coug with your host, James Laurie. The Podcast Coug is your weekly Coug on Demand show featuring all things Cougs and Washington State Cougar football. This has been a presentation of the Podcast Coug Radio Network. Find us at podcastcoug.com.